You made it? Yeah, I know you did. It looks actually pretty great. All right, so we are here we are, chat. Anytime, I'm just bothering. Oh, goodness. Let's see. Let's do I still have... Right now I still have Pretzel Radio. I'll have to go on to Pretzel Radio. There it is, Pretzel Rocks. Stand by. Getting the music situated. There we go. There we go. There we go. Cool. All right, let's also get our VS Code out as well. There we go, chat. So, yeah, if you guys did not know, we have definitely worked on a lot of avionics here for our game. And pretty much where I believe our system operates right now is we have pretty much the entire ascent all the way through second stage shutdown is automated. So we have first stage ascent, second stage separation, second stage to some kind of orbit and shutdown. That's pretty much where we are right now, which is pretty good. But there's a couple things I want to start laying the groundwork for, and that is actually doing first stage guidance on the ascent. So we could do something like the tangential control laws, actually getting into automated control, because right now we basically use a trajectory, if you will. We essentially have a predetermined trajectory that we want to follow, and then the rocket follows that trajectory, but it's not actually aiming for an intended orbit, right? It's just going along some predetermined curve, essentially, to try and get to an altitude at some velocity. What we actually want to be able to do, which is what's done in real life, is say, hey, we want to do this maneuver to get to this specific orbit, right? And there's a lot of different ways that we can do that. A lot of different algorithms that allow us to basically define the target orbit that we're looking for, and then have a nice, smooth trajectory all the way up to that intended target. So there's a lot that we can do there. There's actually just zero lift flight, meaning that you basically do some kind of pitch over at the very beginning, and then you just aim prograde all the way into your target orbit. That's a pretty easy one to do. There's tangential control law, which actually adds a second component to that sort of system, allowing you to manage your system to an actual targeted destination, and does not necessarily follow a zero lift turn. And then finally, one that I know about that's also very common that was used by Saturn V is called PEG, P-E-G, or the Propulsion Explicit Guidance, I think, if I remember correctly, it's what it's called. So there's a lot of different algorithms, and so I think we can do some research, figure out which one we actually want to implement, and then go from there. And essentially the difference between the different algorithms, like the zero lift guidance, which, like I said, is you do some initial turn at the very, very beginning, and then you just follow your velocity vector into orbit. That is something you would do powered explicit guidance. Thank you. That is something that you can do offline, as in, like, you simulate the rocket offline in some sort of simulation environment to then pick the specific initial turnover. And then you essentially just add that into your vehicle as a pitch maneuver, and then point prograde the rest of the way up into orbit. That's pretty easy, but like I said, it's not very robust to any sort of errors. It's kind of just a best guess, if you will, in terms of your intended target. But then there's something like powered explicit guidance, which actually allows you to aim for a very specific orbit, and then it will actually guide the rocket to that orbit over a period of time, which is actually pretty cool. So there's a bunch of different stuff there that we can actually do. But I figured that we could do a quick little test here, chat, to show what we have currently, and then start looking at what it is that we actually want to do. So it looks like we have Vulcan out here ready to go, so might as well just go ahead and fly. Come on, game, you can do it. There we go. So we have like a Vulcan Saturn V style of mission going on here. So we have basically 5 F1 engines on the center, the actual first stage here. But then it also, like Vulcan, has placements for some SRBs, so we can extend the first stage if we want as well. And it's capable of, if I remember correctly, of about like 150 tons to low Kerbal orbit, which is pretty good. So it's definitely a powerhouse. Oh, and we use smart reuse. So the entire first stage section here actually separates, goes through entry, and then lands in the water under parachute, which is another ULA style of reuse concept. But anyways, let's go ahead and see what we can do here in terms of our guidance, navigation, and control. So we need to set our launch. Has there been any update on smart reuse recently? I mean, not specifically. It seems like they're gearing up for it. Like if you saw the Vulcan engine section, the bow tail and engine section on the Vulcan the Vulcan stage that's actually at the Cape right now, getting ready to fly on its first flight, they have definitely designed it capable of reuse. Like the entire engine compartment looks separatable, which is actually pretty cool. But in terms of like anything else, and also of course we know that they're working on the inflatable heat shields, which has been tested several times now, which is also something they're doing. The Juno rocket that launched Explorer encountered the jet stream. The added velocity pushed it into a higher orbit, so it was 10 minutes late appearing. Interesting. I didn't know that. That's pretty crazy. All right, so we want to launch year 3, day 293, and we'll call it a minute from now, shall we? So we're going to do 00 at 07, and we'll call it 30. All right. I think everything else should be fine here. Let's just go ahead and run the program. And so like I said before, what we use in KSP is a mod called kRPC, or Kerbal Remote Procedural Call. And essentially, it is designed... are we good? It's designed to work with Python. You can actually use a lot of different programming languages to actually automate your systems in KSP, which is pretty cool. So we're using Python. It does things like C#, I think Ruby, R, Lua, Java. It has like a lot of different ones that you can use, but Python's one of the ones that I know. So T minus 40 seconds here, T minus 30 seconds rather. Oops, that was not what I meant to do. I meant to get here to physics, to aero, display aero GUI data. There we go. So one of the things that we also have implemented, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, main engine start, 1, and liftoff. There we go. So one of the things that we actually have implemented here as part of our GNC for our rocket is not only a roll program, which just is now going through its roll program. We also have a pitch program. We also have a throttle bucket. We essentially limit the booster's acceleration to try and track a maximum dynamic pressure of around, I believe it's 12,000 pascals. And then from there we have it tracking no acceleration greater than 4 Gs, which is very similar to what's done in real life as well. So we can see we're at full throttle right now. Our dynamic pressure is going sky high at 9,000 pascals. And once it hits around 12,000, it should start decreasing. There it goes. And now it's trying to track a dynamic pressure of around 12 kilopascals. So that's doing good. This is all hands off from me so far. Still tracking that 12,000 pascals. And then we should start to see a very slow ramp up in power on the engines as well as we get higher into the atmosphere. And again, trying to track 12,000 pascals, so when we go below it, we'll start increasing. You can already see the throttle moving hair by hair, throttling back up. There it goes a little bit more. Dynamic pressure is pretty much constant as the vehicle continues to throttle up. And there we go, back to full throttle. So max Q has already been achieved. And vehicles continuing to pitch down range. And we should be coming up on main engine cutoff or MECO, at which point we should have a pretty rapid succession of MECO, second stage separation, second stage ignition, and then ideally, we actually have to work on our second stage guidance as well, which is kind of why I'm interested in the powered explicit guidance, because that also covers second stage trajectory as well. Because our first stage is pretty solid, but our second stage guidance is still lacking a little bit as well. It's not quite accurate enough. All right, still looking good. This is all second stage doing its own thing. You can see the boat tail with the engine section separating from the core stage, from the first stage rather. We're above 40,000, so we'll go for fairing set. And this is still fully automated. So if I remember correctly, I'm trying to track a intended time to apoapsis of like a minute here, which is why we're pointing pretty low towards the horizon. Let me actually see, what am I targeting here? Oh, I'm actually still doing the target apoapsis, gotcha. So I'm still targeting my apoapsis for this flight. Yep, gotcha. If the cow doesn't get a major upgrade, you'll be sad. That's fair. That is fair, yeah. So vehicle's still looking good. We're almost to 70 kilometers altitude here. Yeah, before you won't even get the cow, they'll do it. I mean, I don't see how they wouldn't, you know? All right, starting to pitch down here. And throttling back. Still looking good, getting our periapsis up. Vehicle's continuing to pitch down because we want our time of flight to be at around 50 seconds right now. Okay, looking good. Almost have our periapsis up. There it goes. And there we go. So we basically achieve a parking orbit of 114 by 72. And not bad. So that's where we are right now. But like I said, we are not really able yet to completely track a intended orbit that we want our second stage to achieve. So that's why I'm kind of thinking we aim to do powered explicit guidance, because that allows you to actually define your ending orbit that your vehicle is designed to actually achieve, which is actually pretty cool. So I think that's probably where we'll start in terms of redoing some of our ascent guidance. So basically, just to show you, we have a lot of utility functions defined that we can actually probably reuse here, but mainly the pitch over maneuver is now something that's going to have to be rewritten here. That'll be at least the main thing that we have to do, because the powered explicit guidance is essentially solving with powered explicit guidance, to my understanding, and there's actually a paper on it that we'll probably have to read through and reference and look through as we're doing this in KSP when we actually go to write it. You're essentially solving for a desired acceleration to achieve your final orbit, your final position and velocity, based on your current position and velocity, right? The whole thing with the missile knows where it is because it knows where it isn't. That's essentially what we have to do with powered explicit guidance. We have to know where we are aiming. We have to know where we are not in order to achieve where we're going. So it'll definitely be a pretty large project, but I think that's going to be the first step is making the pitch maneuver a little bit easier, using a little bit more robust algorithm, because this is my final stage closed loop guidance, which is fine. Like I said, it achieved orbit for us, right, which is great. But essentially it just uses a set of proportional, integral, and derivative controllers, PIDs, to try and track a pitch angle relative to our time of apoapsis, which is fine. Like I said, it achieved orbit, but it didn't achieve a specific desired orbit. It just kind of got there and was then like, okay, we're good. We achieved, you know, our target apoapsis was achieved, and that's it. We don't care about a periapsis and all that jazz. So yeah, we definitely have some work to do. But that's just even one aspect of it, chat. We have to go from there and then start looking at, yeah, let's revert to launch and then I'll recover as well. The other thing I want to do is, like I said, actually boost back burn guidance and automated RTLS landings like Falcon 9. To do that, though, that's going to be a very, very big project. We're going to have to do state estimation, essentially, again, predicting where we are or predicting where we want to be with respect to where we are. Maybe Kalman filter or maybe like a unscented Kalman filter or some other method to actually predict our landing target that updates at every time step, right? And then from there, we also have to have our guidance for the actual landing, which I'm thinking we do like proportional derivative or proportional integral navigation. Again, that's essentially using a PID to control your acceleration vector. Essentially how it works is you have an intended target and you have a line of sight to that target, and based on your line of sight angle, that it uses a PID to control that angle, so that way your endpoint is basically null velocity. You're intercepting your system. It's actually really interesting and kind of complex, although also at the same time kind of simple. It's simple in terms of like what aerospace industry has in terms of at your disposal in terms of guidance, navigation, and control, but it's also still pretty involved, so there's definitely a lot to it. But anyways, let's go ahead and recover this, and then I'll show you the other thing that we're going to work on, which is actually probably going to help us with the landing GNC as like a test article, and that is our DCX style of lander. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. That I want to have some stuff too as well. Sats are yeeted. There we go. What? There we go. Deployment of 22 Starlink satellites confirmed. Excellent. Most excellent. Let's see, I need the DCX. There we go. Nailed it, chat. Let's go ahead and put Bill. And do we still have Thomas here? Thomas is on mission, isn't he? Thomas, how dare you? How dare you? There we go. A science data input mod for the cow would be super cool. For like what? Like, what would you want to control in terms of your science for cow? What did you have in mind? Yep, here we go. So this is our DCX style of vehicle. Essentially, it is a vertical takeoff, vertical landing test article. That was actually a real thing back in the 90s. And so we made it here as a test article to test our software as well. Oh, for pressure and altitude. Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, something like that would be really clean for sure. Okay. Something like that. Yep, there we go. Oh, that'd actually be nice as well, Lava. Yeah, they could definitely go further with cow, but I don't think they will, right? Because the game's not getting updated anymore. Okay, looking good. Yeah, exactly. But I guess a mod could potentially do that, but I don't know how they have it set up for cow controllers and how easy that is to get there. Because there are just certain things in the game that are just behind, you know, too much for you to actually be able to do anything with even a mod. Because I don't remember who, I think it was, yeah, I'm sure it was the mod father himself. I'm sure it was Linux Guru Gamer who said something, was like, that would be such a great utility mod, but because of how the game code is set up, it's like impossible to actually do anything about, which is unfortunate. I don't remember what it was either, but it was something that was like, wow, that would be so amazing if that could be a mod as like a quality of life improvement. But it was like, yeah, can't do that though. Literally behind too much doesn't allow you to have access to that. Hey, what's up, Gran? How are you? What's the mission right now? We are using this as a demonstration mission for our flight software. We're actually using Python. Oops, that is the wrong direction. We're using Python to automate our rocket here, and we're using basically this as a test article. If you're familiar with SpaceX, right? Essentially think of what Grasshopper was to Falcon 9. So let's see here. So that's now dropped off. Yeah, we use this truck to transport it. That's why it's here. And then let's see. So if you know what Grasshopper did, right? This is what Grasshopper did for SpaceX. Essentially, it's a very, very small little test article that was designed to just test their hover and landing G and C to really understand the dynamics behind it. And yeah. Ooh, yeah, there you go. There we go. So this is essentially what that vehicle is for us. Something just to test landing and control. Isn't it? Yeah, that's great. The cows, it's always about the cows for sure. Unfortunately, this exploded, but it got a few flights in before it did. But yeah, they were testing the throttle ability, how well can it be controlled for motion while in flight, and the guidance and stuff to actually land back to a landing pad. There you go. So yeah, that's what we hope to do with this thing. Except we're going to do a little bit more as well, because this thing is also designed to belly flop like Starship. So yeah, we'll see if we can actually get that done here. There we go. Lift that up. Lift this up. And tally-ho. So yeah, we're going to take these Kerbals back and put them below the edge here, so that way they actually have perhaps a little bit of safety from what is about to transpire. Let's see if I can't put them right here behind the seam. Like a bunker. Of course, they're in kind of a tank, aren't they, chat? So hopefully they'll be fine, even if it doesn't land on them. But ideally, it doesn't land on them. Okay, that was weird. Anyways. So yeah, now what we got to do is fuel the rocket. Oxidizer. Can't remember how to use this. It's been forever since we've done anything to this. So we have oxidizer, and there's fuel, right? Oh, and there's fuel. Okay. At least I thought. Yeah, there we go. So fuel, oxidizer. Okay. Buy or sell these resources. So we can buy and bring that all the way up. Okay. And same with this one. And refill this. And then I should, if I remember correctly, yeah, there we go. Now it's fully fueled, chat. How about that? It wasn't before, it was empty before, but now we're fully fueled. So that's a cool little mod called Kerbal Konstructs, allowing you to do fuel systems. Yeah, that should be fine. All right, chat. And yes, it's called Kerbal Konstructs. If you want to see the mods I'm using, they are right there. No part mods or anything like that. Like, all of my vehicles in the game are stock, but I use a few things to add, like a taxiway to the runway, add a little test landing pad, and a little test pad, if you will, here. And yeah, just a few things. Oh, and Waterfall for the graphic, nice graphics and stuff. Okay, and so like I was saying before, chat, we here use Python in order to control our rockets, and we want DCX. I don't remember which one it was though. Was it hop or was it simple test? I guess I can look at the date that they were last modified. Let me do that real quick, just so we make sure that we're having the most recent one. kRPC, Rocket Avionics. So it should be the simple test. Simple test is what we want, chat. You know, there's something else I want to do differently here, and that's this section as well that we can improve. There's actually a way to actually have very accurate estimation of your altitude, max altitude after coast phase. It takes a little bit to do, but that actually might be the first thing that we do and test. But anyways, target altitude is 30,000 meters. Let's actually take that up to 40. And let's just see where this goes, because I don't actually remember how well this code worked, but we'll see. All right. Oh, that's right, Lava. I do remember that. Thank you. I will look at that again. Indeed, indeed. I do remember that, yeah. We just hadn't been back in KSP1 Python programming since then. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Engine ignition. And we have liftoff of the DCX test article. So like I said, this is all autonomous from here. And what I really want to see, ideally speaking, is that this will go up to 40,000 meters altitude, enter a hover, and then it should belly flop until it gets down to like 10,000 meters, switch over, and then land vertically. All autonomous. That is what we're working on right now. So we'll see how that goes. We will see how that goes. So we're looking for an apoapsis of like 40 kilometers here, roughly speaking. We are hoping that it burns higher than 40 kilometers, so we account for our drag, which is going to slow us down. If it doesn't, then that's something that's currently wrong with that little section of code that's looking for our time to burn. Okay, 27, 28, there's 30. Looking for 40. There we go, 42, not bad. So definitely an overshoot, but should be okay. See, and a fairly, yeah, a couple kilometers overshoot, which is not super great. But hopefully it'll be fine, it'll be close enough. Okay. We're looking good still. What's our trajectory look like? Nice. That's pretty good. Okay, we're above 40. And so ideally what happens is it's going to come back down. If I gave it enough time for a waiting period, it should coast back down to 40 and then hover there. But it all depends on how much time it has that I gave it, because it's on a timer essentially. I think I say like hover here for like 10 seconds. But if it goes past 40 kilometers and then, you know, comes back down, up there it goes, see? So we already have the engines back on, and there we go. We're switching into our belly flop maneuver. We're switching to our belly flop maneuver. Nice. One thing we got to be careful is this, though. I don't want to go out of the water if I can help it. So yeah, this is all autonomous still. Looking good. Okay, right now we're over the water, which is not good. trying to get us back over land. I'm fighting the automated control system. No, 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 no. Bring it back. Bring it back. There you go. There we go. Now we're getting back over land. This is actually me manually controlling it, and it's looking so weird because I'm fighting the SAS. So yeah, this is something that we're going to have to fix as part of our improvement to the guidance. All right, now we're back over land. I can just let it do its thing, I think. Now it's going into vertical landing mode. So essentially what I want to do is actually create a waypoint or a target and just have it circle around that target until it gets into its landing configuration. All right, now we're waiting for it to do the hover slam. There's the hover slam maneuver, which will hopefully slow us down before we impact. Looking good. And now we have a constant rate of descent. Oops. And we have touchdown and shutdown. So yeah, that's what that's designed to do. All of that was automated until I started doing the manual inputs to make sure we got back over land. That was pretty much it. But not bad. So like I said, I think the way that we can improve the flight dynamics of this thing is like basically making the truck our targeted landing zone, or put a flag out here or something, target it, and then use that as something that we aim for, essentially. We can also add an offset to it so it doesn't actually land on the target. But that's essentially it. Because see, now what we can do, right? I need to go back here. Here, switch. And we can go pick it up with the truck and bring it back and do it all over again. There we go. Oh, there's a big ditch right there. My bad. That almost ruined everything. Come on, get up there if you can, please. Thank you. Whew. I didn't see that for a second. Anyways, no worries. All right, DCX transporter. Approaching runway 9. Entering runway 9. DCX transporter rolling down runway 9. Possibly as a paying passenger, maybe. And I'd want to see it do better than what just happened. Can you imagine being on it while it's doing that? It'd be like being put into a blender. Oh man, that'd be messed up. All right, there it is. There we go. Looking good, Chad, looking good. And now we just gotta wait for this to go down. We can then pick up the rocket. Boop. There we go, something like that. Bring that traverse rate down, that traverse rate down. They destroyed the camera with the direct hit. That's awesome. I think I have heard of that. Yeah, that sounds familiar. Okay, looking good. Okay, not bad. Now, ideally, we should be able to now pick this up a little bit. And keep moving back. Come on. Come on, you're almost there. There we go. And now we should just be able to dip this forward. There we go, and it's locked. Now we bring it back. Nice. And there we go. We have a reusable vehicle. You gonna do this recovery after every test? Why not? Bring it back over to the launch site, do it again. I mean, if we can make it land exactly where we want it to land, it becomes a whole lot easier, doesn't it? Now, this is just as because you know, if you're familiar with like EJSA, we do a lot of similar game rules, if you will, which is, you know, working on like reusable systems and actually bringing them back and you know, trying to have a way to recover the vehicle without recovering the vehicle, right? Like being able to put this back on the truck, and then once it's up on the truck we can recover, right? That sort of thing. That's kind of how we play the game in certain stances. Same with like the engines on the first stage from Vulcan, right? Those pop off, land on the parachute under in the water. From there, because they would be recoverable, we can recover them. So certain things like that, we have a focus on reusability. There we go. And now we can turn it back over to the landing site. Well, to the launch site rather. I kind of wanted to run that again and then see if we can't go up to 70 kilometers and see how it performs there as well. Also, what's my original pitch over? My original pitch is 88.1 degrees. So that was way too much for 40 kilometers, but I think if we basically double that, that might be okay. Let's see if we could do this without tipping the entire vehicle over. Oh, this is fine. Yeah, this is fine. This would be okay to do with the rocket, right, chat? Totally okay. Yeah, no kidding, Barrel. How are you? Please don't tip. All right, thank you. Oh, please don't tip. Don't hit it. Okay. Woo. It'd be too much to ask to use too. Yes, it would. We were on a shoestring budget. Gotta make sure you use the roads, chat. We pay too much to upkeep the lawn for you to just drive over the grass. Stay off the grass, chat. Uh-oh. Okay, we're fine. This is fine. Don't worry. All right. DCX entering, crossing runway 09 to taxiway. DCX carrier on taxi. The mother of all ICBMs, indeed. Okay. Heading towards the launch pad. Okay. And tease it. Looking good. Vehicles on the ground. Perfect. Okay, bring that up. And bring that up. Nope, never mind. Stop it. Now we can bring it up. All right, let's go put them back in their hidey hole. There we go. Sure, that should be fine, right, chat? Totally not exposed whatsoever. And good. And good. Beautiful. All right, so what we're going to change now here, chat, is the altitude. The desired altitude. We're gonna call this 70. All right, that should do it though. Or actually, before we do that, how about just a 10,000 meter? 10,000 meter, go up, come back down. And then we'll, because I want to actually make sure it still hovers. So hopefully it still hovers here. Vehicle's good. Yeah, so I just want to make sure that the hover control is actually still fine. So yep, looking good. So we should see hopefully now collapses of around 10. There we go. All right. There we go. It's starting its hover. It should be trying to get back down to around, yeah. There we go. We have our hold. 0, and it's holding very well. Perfect. That's what we want, chat. That's what we want. There it goes. It gets over into its belly flop maneuver. Belly flop maneuver is looking good. All right, looking fine. And now going into its landing configuration. Landing burn has begun. Looks great. And there we go into constant rate of descent landing. And there you go. Oh god. And then we can go pick it up and do it one more time. We'll do it one more time. I want to send it up to 70 and see how it does. And that'll be our last thing. So much fuel left. Oh yeah, that's because this thing is meant to go. It's basically, I designed it to be like New Shepard by Blue Origin. It's meant to go all the way up to above the Kármán line, which in KSP is 70 kilometers. So yeah, we only went up to 10, so it's definitely got a lot of fuel remaining. Yeah, you're fine. Okay. I just didn't want to send it too far down. There we go. There we go. More or less. Boop. Ooh, that docked? Oh no, it didn't. For a second I thought it docked. I was like, ooh. There we go. Get that angled and then bring this up. There we go. Perfect. Bring this up. Or down, rather. There we go. Perfect. And then back to the launch site, chat. So yeah, like I said, we'll do it one more time. We'll send up this time to 70 kilometers altitude. Oh yeah, we can also check out its performance here. So here's its altitude after it reached its hover. You can see, so this doesn't account ascent. This is once it reaches apoapsis, it hovers at the predetermined altitude here. Pretty well. It tracks it fairly decently. You see how horizontal that line is, and then it steps down. And then this is our throttle, our commanded throttle. So you can see after 5 seconds, it throttles up and then it throttles back. No, wait, is this our throttle or is this our vertical velocity? This is our vertical velocity. Yeah. No, this is our throttle. I was right the first time. I'm sorry, chat. This is our throttle. And this is our commanded throttle. We shut the engines off to exit our hover, and then it basically calculates until we reach a requirement for a throttle of 100%. And then from there, it starts our hover slam maneuver. And then this should be our vertical velocity, yeah. And you can see that we touch down with a vertical velocity of about 2 meters per second. Not bad. So yeah, we can actually track all of our performance across this as well. What's up, Thailand? How are you? And oh, this is fine. Totally okay, chat, right? Totally not a problem. All right, there we go. And now we can do the whole thing in reverse. Bring this down. Cool. Perfect. It's got too much fuel in it, that's why. It's not meant to handle this thing with any fuel. That's funny. Alright, let's bring this down a little bit. And then separate. There we go. And now we can leave. There we go. They're hidden enough. All right, then from here, we'll do the thing, refuel it. And refuel it. All right, let's change our targeted apoapsis now to 70. And here we go. Prage, chat, Prage. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition. There we go, and we're away. So we pitch over just a little bit so that way it actually, our trajectory Especially now that we're going a lot higher, we'll hopefully allow Kerbin to rotate underneath us, so we land, you know, somewhere back around KSC proper. Because before I would do this, right, we would just launch straight up, and that doesn't account for Kerbin's rotation. So we'd actually end up landing like over here, right on this hill, which was horrible. Got to stress test it, set it to 120. I'm pretty sure this barely has enough fuel to do the 70 kilometers. And landing, right? You gotta remember, we have to keep enough fuel to land, which is always always a little bit of a yeah, we'll see. You've seen it do 80? Probably. It's probably done 80. Okay, coming up on shutdown here. There we go. And now we coast. Now we coast 30 kilometers to Apoapsis, and we hope for the best. Hey, the moon. By the way, this has gone to the moon. Not in this configuration. We launched it as part of our... Basically think about this as being HLS, as part of a program that we did a while ago. This actually went to the moon as our lander. Turn off RCS for now. We're not needing it. It's just causing oscillations at the moment. But we're still coasting. Looking good, still coasting. It'll probably go right into its belly flop here. Yep, going right into its belly flop maneuver. There we go. And now we got to keep an eye on our trajectory, because right now we're over the water, which is not great. Get back to the atmospheric interface here. Okay, we're slowly coming over the land, but we're still too far. Still too far over here. I might want to change my initial heading from 0.1 to 0.5. 88.5. We'll try that. Well, we'll save that rather. Yeah. Looks like we're still going to be landing in the water at this approach. Okay, looking good. Vehicle's keeping its attitude for the moment. There's entry. We shouldn't even have to burn, because this thing has enough aerodynamic forces that it can actually fly. So if I just turn us around now and kind of go this way, we'll be brought back over land, no problem. Hey! Trying to get us back to the landing zone if I can, to some degree. Come on, you can do it. Bring it around. I'm fighting the SAS right now, which is why it's doing this, which is unfortunate. Ah, well. Yep, went a little bit too far, but oh well, I guess. That's why I need to enter guidance so we can actually track a potential target, like the truck, for instance. Quite a lot of control authority. Oh yeah. There's our hover slam maneuver. And there we go. Whee! So like I said, it's a little rough, but it does what it needs to do. It certainly does what it needs to do. Terrain seam. Interesting. But there you go. Yeah, not bad, not bad. That was all automated except for my manual trying to turn us back towards the pad. But I think that'll be one of the, maybe the second thing we try to implement is, can we do maybe like proportional integral navigation like I talked about before to actually track like our target vehicle, or at least a target location, and then hopefully this will always turn back towards that target location if it ever goes too far away from it. That would be kind of the thing that we would want to implement, I think. But yeah, not bad. Not bad. So it's in a good spot. It's in a good spot to play around with. This could totally do 100 kilometers, maybe. Yeah, I didn't see how much fuel we had left, but yeah, potentially. Not too shabby, but anyways, chat, that is going to have to do it for me for the evening. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Definitely a little bit on the shorter side, but got a little caught up to today. We will be back doing KSP1 with Python here on Sunday. So Sunday will be the next stream. We'll get into this. We'll start, I'll do a little bit of research and preparation ahead of time. So that way I can come in with the materials and a plan for what we're going to implement in Python. And then, yeah, we'll be flying a whole lot of DCX, up, down, hover, maneuver, fly, land. We'll be doing all of that here, hopefully on Friday. Not Friday, sorry, Sunday. Sunday Mountain Time is when I'll be going live next. So have a good night, everybody. Much love. Enjoy your Friday, enjoy your Saturday, and I hope to see you guys on Sunday, all right? Have a good night, everybody.